us during this, but let's get going. We've got a lot of stuff to talk through today,
Mhm.
and we got to get through it. So, as you see, Tyla and Mari are out today. Next week, I will be out of town in Florida. So, FYI on just like capacity and all folks that are in the room today. But joining us again is Ava, the new Tina, but definitely Ava will be supporting our work. And then Sophie, of course, will be supporting the breakout rooms as well. So just to FYI where we are, we're in week 2 of Connect the Dots and Plan It Out. And so we will be working towards, we've got about 7 weeks. I'm going to mute you, Jamila, for right now. Okay, there we go. Your kitchen mates are pretty loud, but that's okay. We love them anyways. Don't worry about it. So we're in week 2. As I said, we have 7 weeks left of this fellowship. So I just really want to keep reorienting us about where we are and kind of like where we're going. But before we do that, I really first want to say like what you're going to need to be successful today. This is just like, what are your documents that you need to have up? And so, those documents are your Drive project folders, your activity, the Connect the Dots synthesis document, and this new activity we're about to introduce, which is called the Lean Canvas. So I am going to drop in the chat right now the synthesis document, which we will all kind of go over within our breakout rooms together. So here they are. And then we will later work on this Lean document. And that will be a later thing. So I'm dropping that in the chat as well. So yeah, we'll just need you to be able to open your Connect the Dots synthesis activity, the thing you've been working on this whole week, and then open this new document called the Lean Canvas. A piece of paper and pencil to take notes is always good, but always like critically, you just need the ability to open new links. Like I put something in chat, I need you to open it up. And the ability to type, talk, and be an active participant with your team, especially during breakout rooms. So this is a bit of our agenda, just kind of going over where we are, what the agenda will be. There's a little bit of an icebreaker, but it's kind of misnamed. It's really about community agreements today and revisiting those that we developed in the beginning of the fellowship and making sure we're still in line with those community agreements and making sure that if there are some missing or some that have come up, that we should add them to our document. We're going to talk about why we're going to share out and do feedback each session from here on out. So we've heard a lot that like, we want to learn from each other. We want to hear about each other's projects. We want to be able to talk about the work and like have people give us feedback. And so we've incorporated this time in every single session from here on out, just so we're getting into that practice. And so this is, again, how you see we iterate this program, right? What is it that's most important? How can we make sure to put this into the program and prioritize that time? So we'll do that in share out and breakout rooms. Each will have a facilitator around that and we'll help you do that and walk you through that. And then we'll come back. I'll introduce you to something we call the Lean Canvas, which is essentially a business model canvas, something borrowed from the business world, but is really helpful for just getting some concrete thoughts on about your program in one place. It's kind of preferred to the business model canvas because the business model canvas is more about businesses that have sort of already been in production. They just need a kind of realignment. Whereas the Lean Canvas is really like ideas first. We're at this like startup area. Once I introduce that, we'll go into our breakout rooms and then we'll facilitate you through that activity again, just like we did in our last activity, last week. And then again, next week, you'll share that out and get feedback on it. So it's a lot of this of like coming in, sharing out the thing you did last week, getting feedback on it, introducing a new thing, working on that, and then next week coming back and getting share out and feedback on it. So this is kind of like the cycle we'll go through. After that's done, we'll close it out and you'll all enjoy your Fridays, I'm hoping, or weekends, so whatever you're doing. I don't know. Maybe we can start there. What are y'all doing for your weekends that are fun?
I'm probably gonna head to Jersey and go visit my mom. Just get out of the city and see some nature. Go for, long walks.
Long walks. Keisha, what are you up to? Keisha, if you're not there in Arabia, what you up to?
Um, I'm my family's having like a first annual softball game for my aunt that passed away like 20 years ago, and her kids are organizing it. So I'm excited, and yeah, it's gonna be like a family reunion kind of, but around softball.
Around softball. Where are you going to play softball?
Roosevelt Island. That's
Oh,
where my family lives.
they live in Roosevelt Island?
Yeah.
What a strange place. That place is so interesting. Do you spend time
Lived there
there?
for like, yeah, they've lived there since before my aunt passed away. So like, I'm gonna say 20 some years.
Yeah, that place is so
Yeah,
interesting. I love to take the tram there. You know, the little.
yeah, it's cool.
I could imagine those stories. The Roosevelt Island stories and Tompkins stories. It's like two different worlds.
Literally, but we used to do the same thing though. We used to play manhunt around the whole island. That's
Exactly.
especially when before they had the old hospital shut off
Oh man,
and
that
it
was
was just
open.
abandoned. We used to play in there. It was bad. It was a
Oh,
lot
I
of
am
fun though.
sure.
Oh, I can imagine how fun that was.
It was. We used to have mad fun.
What about you, Jamila? What you up to this weekend?
Working. I got to do the overnight, so I'm gonna rest up all day and then overnight. Unfortunately, I don't know if Tompkins people heard Marcy that lost another young person to gun violence.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So I know I'm close with his brother, so I'll probably link up with him. And then my nephew leaves tomorrow. I'm so happy he won't be here. He go back to Germany. I want him gone away from here.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Marquise, what you up to this weekend?
Might just go to my mom's house. And if I get the call, then I'll head out to karaoke for a little bit.
Jacob, Stanine, what are you up to this weekend?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hi, Denise has church on Sunday.
Church.
Yeah, tonight I have boys basketball tonight. Gotta run the gym for them. Have a dinner engagement tonight and service all day on Sunday. It's always exciting and action packed. Saturday is street meeting. Yeah.
You've got a programmed meeting of fun with basketball, dinner, service.
Yeah. Everything I do is fun. 90% of it.
What about you, Keisha? What's up?
Well, this weekend, that's probably spending time. I might go down to Picnic Ridge Park and go to the area where they have the grills and just cook out. And church service, that'll be it.
Yeah, sure, sure. Anyone else want to share? For me, I'm going down to Florida, going to see family, have a funeral to attend, but we'll be using time in between to see some other family and see another grandmother. So it'll be good. Be good. I'm from the Keys originally, so we'll be going down to the Florida Keys and hanging out there for a bit with family. Cool. All right. So next, wanted to just like simply revisit community agreements because this is something we haven't had the time really to revisit since we created them kind of at the beginning of this fellowship, right? We all kind of like we're talking about this and what is important to us, what's not important to us, and kind of like as a group, what do we agree to? And so these are things that we had originally sort of agreed upon, you know, that we are learning on our own time, that we accept all voices, excited, soft, loud, out there voices. We accept them. that we can balance each other out with the different skills we bring to the table. This was something, Marquise, that you said that I remember is like our hood is our strength. With peer support, we lift up our community success. And being comfortable with our own vulnerabilities and knowing that our vulnerabilities will not be weaponized in this space. We come to be, this was a good one, and I hope we can return to this one. It's like we come to be challenged, right? We're here to bring our A game. You've been part of this fellowship now for close to 4 months. Like there's a reason why you keep coming back, and that is to bring your A game and make sure that like you're getting everything you can out of this, and we're providing you with everything we can in order to make these projects successful. And then we grow and mature our skills. Another good one is we give constructive criticism during discussions. We address the issue and not the person. We have fun and we learn and lead. We are all experts in our own right. Now, things have changed, you know, change happens in time. That's what happens. Do we feel like there are any other agreements that we should really surface here? I think something that I've kind of run into a little bit is around like groups working together and how we might work together in our own groups. So that might be something to add. I think another one is about like offering different perspectives, which I think we have a little bit about here, but want to be a little more mindful about that. So from you now, is there anything that we should add to this? Or anything that we should really focus on?
Well, I know something came up for me. We had got accepted for a grant. I don't know if Anna told you in an email. We had applied for a grant when we started the fellowship, just looking at other stuff. So that's I think we need to restart receiving extra funding that we wasn't like, you know, expecting. We want to make sure we do it right.
I want to say something about we're here to support shared resources and funding opportunities.
Yeah, like letting other people know and the fellows know about it.
Yeah.
It's another one that's coming up. This one is for 20,000. The grant we just got, I'm thought Anna was coming in today. It's like 2,000-3,000, but it was like something that came up that they was giving small organizations that were starting up.
So definitely.
So should we email them a connection about who we are and a thank you letter and stuff? Should that do that, right?
Anything else we want to add to this like agreement or norm? Maybe around something around like group work or working together that could be helpful for folks who are like deep in the work with their groups.
Yeah, I think I don't know how to even phrase it, or like the I don't know. I just feel like there needs to be more like I guess spaces for us to like organize the way that we're doing things. And I know you guys do like a really good job at like doing the documents and stuff, but I think like not everyone is used to working in documents, and I think that's like a really big hurdle that a lot of teams might be facing. And I guess like setting times to really work outside of the fellowship is something that like I feel like needs to be reiterated so that like the work can actually get done.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done a lot to try to make sure that work, like actual work, is being done in the class so that we can get you to a good starting point for you to finish. And so yes, so like if you're not coming back to that document, well, that momentum gets lost, right? Like we can start you there, but it is the onus or the responsibility of each team to close out each document for sure.
I guess my question then, and so like for me, I oftentimes like am looking in the documents and stuff, like I don't want to add anything or work on it because I feel like we're supposed to be doing these things as a team. And like, I don't know what I guess my question is more of like, what is the flexibility around like when things need to be done, right? Like, I don't know how to phrase what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, okay. But you're asking a good question, which I think is like, what do you do when there are multiple things to be done? Not everyone is available at any one time, and the documents need to get done. Like how do you do that? And I think there's like maybe we can offer, actually maybe others can offer solutions. And I think like one solution I have, or one thing that I think about is like, I'm typically working on a document, or we task people on our team to do different documents. And then we come together and we review our documents, and everyone goes, okay, actually this is this. And then we come together and we solve them, right? So everyone owns a document, and then it's up to us to come to the full team to make sure to get sign off and feedback on that document. So like, for instance, I created this next worksheet that we'll do, the Lean Canvas. And what I did was I sat down, I was like, okay, what do we do? What do we need to work on? I wrote it all out. And then yesterday I put the full team together. So Sophie, Ava, Kyla, myself, Mari's out of town, but it would have been her too. And we simply walked through the document. And I said, is this correct wording? Should we change this? Is this a better example? Does this flow work? Are we aligned? How should we talk about this? Like, and so someone has something that then we can get feedback on and iterate on. That's one way that you could do that. Are there any other ways that other people know?
That's what we do. That's what we do. Like when Naomi moved to Connecticut, so it's hard to link up with her. So usually Anna breaks down everything. If I go into Google Docs and I do something, I'll text or email them to let them know what I worked on, and and to look over the documents if any fixing anything. That way it's easier because then you'll be stuck with all the work, or you fall behind if you wait on everybody. I'll just keep linking them if something fall behind, and we usually get in sync like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes it's not available to everyone to sit down and work through one document, and sometimes, and it depends, like sometimes it's good to have like everyone looking at the thing and like brainstorming about what it is. And sometimes it may be good to have like one person take a stab at it and have people then like provide comments and feedback to then discuss and incorporate in the document.
I would agree with that. And I would stress, right, that the communication is the key. One challenge that I'm always faced with is that I'm always like, it needs to get done, it needs to get done. And people know that about me, and then they begin to take advantage of that. And so they're like, oh, don't worry, she's gonna take it on because she has the time and the ability. But really it's just me being anxious in the fact that it needs to get done.
Yeah.
Feel that.
Yeah, let's be known that anxiety basically drives a lot of what I do too. So I'm always like, no, it's got to get done. It's got to get done. So yeah, I hear that. And maybe go ahead. I think Deneen, you're about to say something.
Yeah, I've been trying to get in, but yes, I was gonna similar that I think with Arabia you feel get the work done, but it should be shared because everybody's supposed to be on this project and we're supposed to be sharing the workload. And what happens is there's a saying that my former pastor used to say, people would say hard word pass over. So I think the lift for this project, and I think we discussed that before, or mentioned it before, maybe some are not present now, that would say that the expectations were greater than what was expected. And like Arabia said, I mentioned before, when you take a course in college, there's usually prerequisites. So like to this project, there would have been or should have been some prerequisites that got handled. Like the assumption that you know Google Docs, or you can work with Google Docs, or you know Word, or I'm somebody that's literally writing grants and doing deliverables and different things. And sometimes when I look at it, I'm like, whoa, this is a lot. Like, okay, on top of my existing other things. So I mean, we told Kyla, who's amazing. Kyla's amazing, in her support that she's been providing to Rockaway on Beat. But that, yeah, to get everybody, sometimes because this project is already on and hot and popping, Arabia, you like my mindset, you might just have to just suck it up and just do what needs to be done to get it through. But the thing is also concerning the future and the forwardness of the project after this fellowship is retired and ended. Like, where do we go if everybody is not putting in a full commitment, right? Like this might be a good learning ground to see that, like, oh, okay, who's really committed to this, and can we really kick this project off long term and with any type of longevity if everyone that's supposed to be a partner is not fully committed. I just heard Marquis say that somebody moved to Connecticut, so it's going to be hard to get somebody that moved to Connecticut, even though you can Zoom in with them and they can stay. It's one thing if you said they went to Connecticut for vacation, they'll be back, but move to Connecticut, it's no longer their community now. So how do you, that individual is likely going to fade away. And I think it's great because with this first iteration that Take Root and the mayor's office and everybody, the collaborative that they're doing, while we can have some great successes from it, it's also, I think, a huge learning on both sides of this fellowship.
Absolutely. And I think, Deneen, you hit the nail on the head with saying, like, prereqs, working with Google Docs. That's something that we now know is like, that has to be an available thing, either a training or just like baseline knowledge, like I think there's some assumptions we came in with that didn't support folks the way that they needed to be supported. And so definitely, I think, like you pointing out, those prereqs of like technical expertise around Google Docs is definitely important. So thank you for bringing that up. And I also, I wanted to also kind of make mention, you said like, what happens after this fellowship? What is actually going to go on? And, we understand that like this fellowship doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? Like these projects, we want them to go out and live in the world. And that's why you're getting the funding to do it and doing this research in order to make it better. And to that end, I know that we are starting to think about like, how do we actually offboard you, like folks, in order to be successful? And that might be continued training offerings where there's a capacity building element where you're talking about your internal governance structure and how you incorporate and how you continue to do the work. That is something that we're just now sort of trying to get aligned on, and what we can offer feasibly to folks about that. But yeah, definitely, Deneen, I hear you on that. And I think like in this next iteration of the fellowship, whatever that may look like, that can't be overlooked. Cool. On the right side, I just really wanted to share out what we promise, or what our norms are for the program team. And that is like prioritizing learning through sharing and activities. We're trying to get better at that. Obviously, some weeks it's more like listening, and other times there's more activities. And of course, it depends on everyone's availability and technical kind of ability to navigate kind of systems. So we're working on that. Make ourselves available to fellows as much as possible. We really do try to do that. We're available at every single office hour every week. You can Slack us at any point. You can email us at any point. I think we've always been pretty responsive. If you don't feel that, come to me. Let me know. Let me know how I can do that better. Checking ourselves as gatekeepers. That's something that has been really interesting insofar as like these things that Deneen, you brought up about prerequisites around technical assistance and things. These are things that kind of are in this bucket. We'll bring our full selves to this program. Everyone does. I think we really do. I feel like we've been pretty transparent about everything. We agree to lift up the work. So yes, we're trying to do social media communications about the work that you're doing. We try to get that approved. It goes to Twitter, it goes to Facebook, it goes to Instagram. And then we allow you guys to have that in your folders to share out. Make it easy for the cohort to talk about the program. That's interesting. I don't know if we've made that totally clear, but maybe that's something we can go back to at a later time. And make space to celebrate throughout the program. So this is actually something that's coming down the pipeline. Kyla is going to start talking about and scoping out what a possible graduation could look like. Some sort of like presentation style where we can invite folks that you want in the room, whether that be your community members, community board members, anybody who you want to influence, we can have in the room. If you want people from NYCHA in the room, we can try to figure out how to bring some NYCHA folks into the room. If not, blah, blah, blah. We're still kind of scoping that out. And then we also want to try to find a time to do some informal picnic social get together before the end of all of this so that we can actually meet each other in person. Yeah. Okay. Everyone feeling okay about this and where this is? Cool. All right, so then just wanted to do a roadmap of where we are, where we're going. Now, these are all in your master guides as well, right? Like this timeline is updated in your master guide, so you will always see it in your master guide. And I actually updated your master guides Tuesday to make it better understandable. Because I came from this sheet. This was me kind of planning out the last 7 weeks. You have a much easier version of how this looks. But basically, we're here on week 2. And so today we're going to do share out and feedback on connect the dots and the synthesis document. And then we're going to introduce and work on the lean canvas. Now outside, so I made sure to say outside of class, we'll refine our connect the dots document. That is, you're going to get feedback and then you're going to want to incorporate that feedback, right? So that's what I call refine. And then you can continue to work on the lean canvas. Next week, when we get here, then we can share out on the lean canvas, get feedback on it, all that stuff. So as I said, the real kind of like way this is going is sharing out on work that we did last week, getting feedback on it, and then introducing a new piece, working on it, and then the next week getting share out and feedback on that. And that's how we're going to kind of move through these last couple of weeks in order to get you guys to a point that you have a program brief, you have a presentation deck, you have an elevator pitch, you have a budget, you have an implementation plan, you've got a lean canvas model, you've got all these things ready so that if you want to find funding, a grant, talk to your community leaders, do anything with the community and get that sort of clout, you'll have it all in one place to make those next moves. Any questions on these last 7 weeks and kind of like where we're going with this, why we're going with this, anything like that?
Really quick, are you showing a timeline right now? Because I don't see your screen, or are you just?
Oh, you don't see my screen?
I don't. Is that just me?
Oh, you don't?
No, I didn't see a screen.
You don't
Okay.
see your screen at all.
No screen.
Yeah.
Oh.
So sorry, we haven't seen the screen the whole time.
You haven't seen the screen the whole time? And no one told
I've
me?
been,
No
I've been able
told
to
me.
follow, so I didn't think
I
it
really
was.
thought we were in like this conversation kind of mood. Like this is what we were going for today.
I liked it. I think it was good, but for the weeks, yeah, we got to see it. But I think it was.
Oh my gosh. It's fine. No, the last slide was just this. You know, our norms. And then we talked about the roadmap. So here's the roadmap. This is like my messy version of the roadmap that I built in Miro. Your master guide has this in a much easier to understand way. So if you look through it, this is what we're doing in class. This is what you'll work on outside of class. And during office hours, this is what Kyla can help you with. So very clear. And then when we talked about sign off on documents, like that is that we need to make sure that we sign them off to make sure that you can get your budget allocated. This is when sign off will occur on each of the elements. So this is all in your master guide. So you'll be able to see that. I dropped those master guides in the chat. All right. So share out feedback. We're going to start our first time of trying to do this. This is going to be an experiment here. So let's do this. Ooh. Cool. All right. All right. So, you know, I feel like I could have lectured on this, which is kind of boring, but maybe I'll just ask you. What does it mean to share out work? Like, what does it mean to share work?
Being open to receiving like constructive criticism.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to network.
Ashley, can you make the presentation? Oh, you can only type in it when it's not screen. Okay.
Okay. So if you were to share out your work to different team members or another team that wants to know about your work, what does it mean to share that out?
Build support.
Say it again.
Build support.
Build support.
I feel like sometimes it's a way to like get real about what you need, your goals. So once you have to say it out again, you'll realize what, like, oh, I really mean this or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of times speaking things out loud gives them meaning, right? It's not just words on a page. You're actually telling people what your work will be. Okay. Anything else I should add here? I think that's about it. Really, it's just an opportunity to talk about the work with your peers, right? Okay, so if that's sharing out, that's how you share out your work. You're kind of like, it's an opportunity to talk about the work, get it out there in a real way, build support with it, being open to constructive criticism. It's kind of like, it's showing it off in its first draft. So if in this next part of the work, will be each team will share out their synthesis document. So the thing you worked on last week, and then each team will be able to give you feedback on that synthesis document. So just in the way we talked about sharing out the work, what are ways in which you can give, what does it mean to give good feedback actually?
Staying positive.
Staying positive, okay.
Kind of along those same lines, like, I guess the constructive part, like talking about what they did and not who the person is, like what we talked about before.
Okay.
Recognizing that the person is not required to take your advice.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. People can't handle that.
Yeah, just because you're getting feedback doesn't mean you necessarily have to incorporate it, right? Like, in fact, I think sometimes when I get feedback that I'm like, no, that's not it. It helps me define what it is that I'm doing by being like, that's not what it is at all. Okay. Do you have any tips for giving good feedback?
Listen twice
Be
as much as you speak.
Okay, listen a lot,
Be honest.
be honest.
Don't take it personal. Don't make it personal.
Ask questions to make sure you understand what's being said before you give feedback.
Ooh, ask
That's the
questions
one.
to make sure you understand before giving feedback. That's great.
One thing that I used to do, or that we had to do as an art major, was like ask what kind of feedback people are looking for when giving it.
Yes.
Some people like prefer everyone to just like take a post-it note and write their feedback down rather than like saying it, things like that. So like just asking before.
Mhm.
And I think the same thing goes for like when you're receiving feedback as well, like asking if someone can give you feedback on something. Don't just assume that they will.
Awesome. Can resources be good feedback? Like if something you're like, oh, that's something that maybe they didn't see or consider. Here's a good resource.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. As long as it connects.
Yeah, sharing applicable resources, right?
Sometimes people just be trying to share stuff to make it seem like they be doing stuff. No.
Yeah, I mean that's called social media, right?
Literally.
Okay, I think this is a good start. Like, we want to make sure to stay positive. We want to be constructive, talk about what they did and not who the person is. You know, that we're listening, that we're trying to be honest, that we ask questions to make sure we understand the thing before giving the feedback, that we ask what kind of feedback they're looking for. And if you're asking if someone can give you feedback on something, sharing applicable resources, or maybe like an insight that you know. Like if they're struggling with something like, I'm not sure how to do this thing about my stuff, maybe you have an insight about how you've done that before. So I think like shared insights is good too. Okay, perfect. Oh my gosh, I'm so past time. This is what happens when there's no one to keep time check on me. Okay. So then, you know, this is where, and we can just talk about this extremely quickly, because this is basically like, you're going to get feedback. It's feedback you can take, it's feedback you can ignore, but essentially you'll get that feedback and you'll want to refine your document. So how do you refine your document after receiving feedback? I think one is like, I heard like, determine if the feedback is helpful to the thing that you want to do.
I think depending on like what you're getting feedback, maybe like categorizing the feedback. Yeah.
Larry, what do you mean? I'm thinking it's like, is it something you want to do now or later?
Yeah. Or even if like, for instance, I was saying like, depending on the thing you do. So like, say if you are showing off a product or like an art piece, right? And a lot of people are saying the same thing, kind of like affinity mapping or something like that. Like you could also do that. But I also like this, what you said too.
Yeah, affinity. That might be a little much, but we can put affinity map. I love a good affinity map. Yeah, it's just about taking the feedback that you heard, trying to understand if that will expand your service and whether or not that's something you can do kind of in your V1 the first time you do it, or is that like some future state that you want to remember and take note of at a later time, and then refine your document. Anything else we want to put here before we kind of go on into the breakout rooms?
I would just add to make sure that you consider the full context of the feedback, right? So yes, you should have a barbecue, but maybe it ain't gonna work because it's winter time, you know.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Barbecues in the winter, not fun. Cool. All right, so we're gonna go into breakout rooms next.
Oh, can I just say one thing about what I was just saying, the other breakout room?
Yeah, for sure. Get in there.
Even with like incentives, like for instance, with the surveys and stuff, when I was outside trying to get more young people to like allow us to interview them and stuff, I was like, you know, we're gonna give you like a $50 gift card, all of that. I think specifically for our program though, like it's not an actual incentive, because people that would be in from Blocks to Beats, like at least from the first cohort, can make $50 way faster than our 30-minute interview. And I'm not, huh?
Are you talking about illegally? They're making $50
Illegally, but
Okay.
but you have to. But that's what I'm saying, right? Like when we're looking at who we are actually trying to target in our program, because a lot of them also have illegal things that go on in their lives, right? Like a lot of people who live in the hood just got a lot of things, you know. Sometimes you got to do 2 illegal jobs and 1 legal job just to sustain yourself in New York. But anyways, that's not me, but I'm just saying other people. You know, like real life, that was something like I really ran into. Like they were laughing, like, bro, like, you know me, $50 isn't, I can get that right now. And it's like, but that's not the point of what I'm saying, you know, like what other kind of incentives, you know? Like it's actually, that's something that we really ran into. People are like, this is nothing. It's like, I like free money, I'm gonna take it regardless. You know?
Like people came up to me and was like $50. I'd be like, all right, I'll sit down and talk to you.
Yeah, but that's what you think the initial reaction would be. But like when you think about the people that are who have historically, I guess, in the first iteration of From Blocks to Beats, are people, you know, who are at risk or, you know, went to jail or did illegal activities and things like that, are still doing illegal activities to get through, you know? It's like, why should I make the time for your $50?
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, this came up in minds. A lot of what I was banking on for my program is the personal connection that I have to folks. I mean, even when you talk to people who are professionals at donations and funding stuff like that, they tell you all the time, right? Like people give money because of their personal connection. So either you're a friend and you're giving it to a friend or a relative or a loved one, or you like personally impacted by the issue. So it seems like here, since you're not gonna get them with money, you really have to just tug on the heart.
Yeah,
that's what we've been doing.
Blocks to Beats is a good youth program that I think if you write or email, contact us to places like Madison Square Garden, GameStop, PlayStation, stuff the youth like. They like to dance, they like to dress, they like to be cocky. You gotta lure them with stuff like that. Most of the youth love sports. Even going out to places they never been to, like restaurant vouchers like that. That's how you gotta get the youth. It's hard to offer the youth things. If some of them want to participate, it'd be 1 or 2 in that group who really need that $50 voucher, but they don't want to do it in front of their friends.
Exactly.
You normally could see after you look at them and talk. Normally, when I talk to the kids, I could pinpoint the one who really, they focus on what you're talking about. You know, they really interested, but I find that the biggest influence role models in the youth are their friends, not the rappers, not the actors. It's their friends. So when you get them by themselves, or you really know their parents, so you really know what kind of kid they are, that's how you could get them.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Yeah, I think, sorry, I'm taking my time, but I just think like literally I think it's the age, because like 16, when you live in the P's, is like, unless your parents are really strict, you're an adult. And I'm not even trying to hold you. Like you are outside doing adult things. Like I was an adult. Like, and my mom was home. Like my mom, well, she worked, whatever, but like I had a lot of responsibilities and stuff. And like you are a grown person. So it's just like those realities that we're trying to navigate through. But I think that could be really cool. Maybe like our orientation or something is incentive. You has like incentives or something, or I don't know. But
So I just got a thought. I mean, you're not paying them, and I'm not sure how you present it to them. Like I didn't run up or talk to the person, or I would not talk to the person and say, yo, I'm gonna give you $50. Let me do this interview. Let me pay you. I would more present the $50 like a good, like this is just like a token, bro. Like I'm just like, this is just for your time, a little something, go get a cup of coffee and a donut, whatever, here's $50. But I wouldn't like make it like I'm paying you to talk to me for an hour or for half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is. This is like, look, I'm doing this program, I'm part of this fellowship. I gotta like make them like I think Jamila was saying like because of relationship, like, help me out. I need to somebody run into my gate. What? I need to I'm sorry, like whoa. This is weird. I need your help. So here's $50. Because you're absolutely correct. Like like this younger teen generation is way entitled. Like so money. I mean my daughter is 19 years old and she's taking Ubers from East New York to Far Rockaway like it's water. Like I'm like, what are you doing? Like you're a half an hour ride on the A train. You're right at Euclid. You're taking an Uber. It's gonna take you the same or longer to get here. So I would use that more, the relationship aspect. Like, please do me this favor, and here's $50. For you to get lunch type of thing. Not like I'm paying you. Like, whoa, look, you should be happy. I'm giving you $50 because they don't care. You're absolutely correct. They don't care about it.
Yeah, that's
and one more thing before we go. It's another thing you gotta look at too is what group you approach. Some groups you gotta leave for the moment, and some groups you gotta approach because once a kid who normally doesn't fit in housing with the other kids because he's not being like them, find himself in a club, other kids join, and then that becomes their group. So sometimes if you go to the basketball court, especially in Tompkins and Marcy, you'll see the same kids at the basketball court versus going up to the group who's on the bench cussing and screaming all day that you normally see every day versus, I'm always seeing this kid on this basketball court. I'm always seeing this kid playing, still being a kid. Those are the ones you should get first.
Yeah.
And then again, your program alone, if you look on YouTube and on your program alone, there's so many kids who's doing music, but they want to be tough in front of their friends, but they looking at, trust me, they find out about blocks and beats, they would really want to get with that. I'm telling you, they would.
It was challenging for me also. I had the first week, everybody broke their dates and appointments. And the second week I had to go out and spend the whole day walking around talking to people, like every day, literally, like starting early in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm in whatever development, walking around all day long until someone was willing to, answer questions. So we sat on park benches, anywhere that was comfortable for them.
That's what we call intercept testing or intercept interviewing in the biz, and that is you sit on a park bench somewhere and you someone comes up to you and you say, hey, can I ask you some questions? And sometimes they say yes, and sometimes they say no, and that's fine. And sometimes we have to be out there for a really long time.
Yeah, I did that for the last one, and even with that though, like it just took a lot out of me a little bit though, because like the youth that are in our program are legit are the people that I grew up with, went to school with, that are my age and things like that, like are my friends, because it's a Tompkins program. I'm from here. So like it's so hard sometimes to try to not be formal or anything like that. I'm not trying to like be like, oh, I'm I'm this big person or whatever, but it's more of like the first 30 minutes of the interview was like literally them clowning me because I'm over here trying to give them $50 for a 30-minute interview. And I'm like, bro, can we get to the questions though? And it's just like, I don't know how to get over those things. So yeah, but I understand. Thank you. This is like kind of like our little mini feedback session because we didn't get to from Black Speech. So yeah, this is nice. Thanks.
would love to spend more time on this. But unfortunately, we have to move on to the next thing because I want to get you to a point where you at least understand what we're doing next. We can, show you the worksheet. We can get it started with y'all. But I really want to get to a point where at least you know what this next thing coming down the pipeline is. So continue to work on your synthesis document. Next thing for you is just refine it based on what you heard from your colleagues. And in this case, Marquise, like maybe Arabia will send you the document and maybe you can put a comment in there somewhere. And that can be a way of like, we're not doing feedback together one-on-one, but you can still receive feedback from one another, okay? So definitely like if you've got 5 minutes, Marquise, I bet Arabia would be really grateful to have your lens on their work.
And Keisha's here too, so.
Oh, Keisha too. There you go, Keisha. Okay, we're going to talk about the lean canvas. And I'm just wondering, has anyone heard of this? It's okay if you haven't, because I didn't know what it was either for, basically until 2 weeks. I've known a little bit about it, but Arabia, what's a lean canvas?
Okay, so I guess like I don't know specifically a lean canvas, but I know like a lean model, like the lean startup, the lean business model, and then also like what a business model canvas is. So I'm gonna take those 3 definitions and make up something.
All right. What is it?
I think it is a way to maybe like taking like the MVP of like a design process of some sort and like laying it out and just kind of, I guess, looking at like iterations and designing up front, testing your designs, things like that. And then maybe looking at like customers as well. So kind of what we've been doing or building up to and putting it all together into one packaged deal, like a business model canvas, but instead for our business, it's for our design process of our project.
Yeah, that's essentially it. All right. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show like a 4-minute video about it. But just like high level, what is this thing? Let me share my screen. Present. Okay. A lean canvas. What is it? Why do we use it? Basically what Arabia said, which is it's a 1-page pre-business plans. People can spend years on business plans. They can spend months with business plans. They can have lots of people. This is sort of like the thing you do before you write that 20-page business plan. And it helps you organize your idea into its key components so that you can investigate your assumptions further, right? So if you say, these are my customers, you can go back and say, are these my customers? Am I sure that these are the right customers? I should think about that some more, right? It helps orient a team to your program or service quickly. So, Arabia and Kenisha's not here today, right? But you could build this canvas, show it to her and say, this is where we at, what we think. It isn't a full business plan, but it is absolutely the road to one. Again, it's like the pre-step to building a huge business plan. We're not going to work on a business plan for y'all. That's not what the outcome of this fellowship is, but we want to get you into a place that if you were to want to create a full model business plan, you have so many of the component parts to do that. It centers the customer, the community voices instead of the business, which is your program, and it is problem and solution oriented. So it really is about like defining those solutions. Last thing is that it focuses on the features and assets of the program, product, services that are unique. So what is the thing that you're going to do that makes you so unique that people will want to be a part of it? So I'm going to do a 4-minute video. This is about a restaurant. So again, it's not a perfect one-to-one thing, but I think it'll give you some ideas about what it means to fill this thing out. And it shouldn't really take that long, to be honest. Like it really should be a quick exercise for y'all. So I'm going to show you what that is in this actual canvas. What that looks like for y'all is a worksheet. So it's not going to look like this canvas, but it is all the elements of this canvas in just a worksheet laid out. Okay, so I'm going to run this for 4 minutes, and then you'll be masters of it. All right. All right, ready? Ready for a good movie? Get your popcorn out, 4 minutes. Go.
In the previous video, we met Joe. He's a vegan, so he doesn't eat meat, milk products, or anything that comes from animals. He also works at Pasila, and he has noticed that the only way for a vegan to have lunch in that area is to prepare his own lunchbox, which usually is a drag. So he had an idea. What if there was a lunch restaurant serving vegan food in Pasila? Is there demand? Would people come? Can he make money? Let's take a look what his idea would look like as a lean canvas. What we have here is a blank lean canvas. Let's start by giving this idea a name, Vegan Restaurant in Pasila. Next, we can go ahead and specify who the customers would be. Vegans naturally, but they also would probably need to live or work in Pasila. And to further narrow down the first customer spec, it's easiest for Joe to first figure out if other people like him share his problem. This is a good idea since keeping the first customer definition narrow dramatically helps the next steps, and you can always broaden the audience once there's traction. So maybe 25, 35 years old and with reasonably high income. Done. Next up, the problem. Joe already knows that there are no restaurants in Pasila serving vegan food, and at least for himself, it's really annoying to prepare your own lunch every day. What could be the ingredients of the solution? Joe thinks that his customers would appreciate good quality food, and also the restaurant would obviously have to be nearby the Pasila office complexes. And also the service should be quick since usually people have tight schedules during the workdays. The unique value proposition should boil down how you're different from everybody else and what you're worth paying attention to. In this case, it's quite easy to be the best when you're the only one. And for the unfair advantage, Joe's brother happens to be a chef and a vegan himself. Plus, he's also interested in opening his own restaurant. Making vegan food taste exquisite is no simple task, so it's definitely hard to copy. Channels. How can Joe reach the 25 to 35-year-old vegans who work in Pasila? Outdoor ads near workplaces, obviously. Where else are vegans using their time? Vegaanifoorumi for one, Facebook groups. Facebook even lets you target advertisements by age, interest, location, and so on. Joe also thinks that word of mouth has a crucial role in this customer segment. As metrics, it's good to have numbers that are actionable and react quickly. Joe chooses metrics that tell him if his solution box is working. For example, number of returning customers really tell him if people are finding value in his solution. Other metrics that he chooses are quality of food and average turnaround time. At this stage, costs and revenue are best to be left really rough, since all of this is just best guesses. One good tactic is to estimate the customer acquisition cost and the lifetime value per one customer. So how much would it cost to get one customer through the door? And how much would they be bringing money in over the entire customership? Joe's estimate is that it would take 19 euros on average to get one customer. And one customer would visit 30 times on average and pay 12 euros for each lunch. That adds up as 19x as the LTV CAC multiplier, which is in a good territory. It's good to highlight that all of this is just an educated best guess at this stage. To validate whether the canvas has anything to do with reality, Joe will make a series of MVP tests to turn those yellow traffic lights either green or red. In the next video, we will take a look at those MVPs and record our learnings using innovation accounting. In the previous video, it's for Joe to first figure out if other people like...
Okay, so that's Joe. And that's Joe's journey through the business model canvas. So very high level of what are the things. And again, these are guesses, right? You'll go through this canvas and you'll continue to refine it. So just a couple of things that will be different between this canvas and our canvas is, you know, the lean canvas is really focused on a profit margin in businesses. And in this case, we really want to focus, we're going to tackle budget separately next week. So we'll talk about our budgets and mind mapping our budgets for next week. And instead of revenue, we're going to talk about potential partners, funders, and possible future assets that can be part of this work. So that is essentially what we'll be doing. And so I'm going to now drop in your lean canvases. And again, these are all in your folders. You will always find these in your folders. There is just one folder you're noticing this week, and that is the Connect the Dots and Plan It Out. So all of your documents are in there. So I'm going to drop these into the chat now. Let me give a moment. Where's my chat? I've lost everything. Okay. And so if everybody can open one of those up for Her Power, Blocks to Beats, Rockway on Beat, and technical assistance. Does everyone have their canvas up? Now, I know we're at the basically the end of our day. So we were going to go out into breakout rooms and sort of start doing this work with y'all. But what I want you to do now is instead open it up, like open up your document now, and we can start walking through it. So I can share my screen. So this will be technical assistance for organizers. Sorry, Marquise, you will be on blast this time around. So I hope you can get in.
I actually prefer, because every time I look at the document, it takes me off. So this works.
So how we'll do this, we're going to focus on our community voices first. We are going to understand our program's position second, and then we're going to brainstorm on your program's funding needs. So with everyone's documents open, which I hope you have them up, hope you have them up, we're going to go down to the customer segment. We're going to answer the following question for you, which is, what types of members of your community will be participating in your program and event? So we've left some examples here. So female identifying persons with children aged 18 to 32. We've got single parent families with at least one child, community boardrooms and their technical team, males aged 16 to 24. So go ahead and write down very quickly. We already know what this is basically, but put it in one place. Who are you trying to talk to? Who's your customer? So Marquise, why don't you tell me out loud who your customer is? Oh, you on mute.
All right, public housing residents?
All public housing residents?
No, public housing resident leaders, resident associations and resident leaders.
Okay, so public housing resident leaders, public housing, say that again?
Resident associations.
Resident associations. Anyone else?
Organizers.
All organizers?
No, organizers who are interested in organizing public housing residents.
Who are interested in organizing public housing residents. Is there a location scope you want to keep narrow right now that you want to think about as far as a customer?
We're citywide.
It's citywide. Do you want for your first edition of this to be focused on one area?
Oh, in the initial program, I think we picked Manhattan and the Bronx, and Brooklyn, Manhattan, and the Bronx.
I would love to hear a little bit more prioritization. So Brooklyn, Manhattan, Bronx has basically all of NYCHA housing. So are there any that you would like to focus on, like specifically for this time?
The developments, I picked Mariana Bracetti, where I'm at. That's in Manhattan. I picked Millbrook houses in the Bronx. And Smith houses in Manhattan. There's probably another one, but I remember those two.
Perfect. Is there any sort of constraint on like age or gender or how long they've been in housing or how long they've been part of these resident association boards?
There's no restrictions, but I anticipate that the population I work with will be the 50 to 65 crew.
Yeah, because it's all about kind of technical assistance to the elderly, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's a great constraint. Her Power, Rockaway on Beat, Blocks to Beats. Tell me, just out loud, do you have some folks that you've got under your customer segments?
Well, I'm sorry, this is Hub Power. We have, well, single moms between age maybe 18, 45. Single or married females, between their ages, same age. Are we looking for seniors, female seniors,
Okay.
between the ages of like maybe, excuse me, uh, age like, say 50 to 65?
I think that's enough. I really think that's enough. What about Rockaway on Beat? Where are you at? Who's your customer segment? Yeah, Jacob, this is all on you, friend. Jacobs, you're on mute if you are talking.
Unmute. Okay, here we go. I was thinking youth, parents.
Okay. What age you would say?
I would say from like 12 to 18.
Okay, youth age 12 to 15. And that's nice, right?
I think Jamal needs to go on mute because I can't hear you. Thanks.
Jacobs, you said,
Yeah.
you said youth age 12 to 15. Do you mean NYCHA youth?
18.
18.
12 to 18. NYCHA youth.
Anything else?
I was thinking parents.
Parents of these children, of these youth?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? And it's okay if there's no one else. It's really, in fact, like having a really scoped customer segment can help you better build programs that are specific to folks. So if you have no others, that's totally cool. Let's see, from Blocks to Beats, what you got?
We have 2 customer segments. I broke them up into like a little bit more. Oh, you have it right here in front of me. 16 to 24-year-old youth, traditional at risk, and non-traditional at risk is how we've been separating them, because we've come to the conclusion that people who live in the hood overall, because of systematic things, are at risk. Anyways, living in Tompkins. So the first one, we don't want to separate gender. Before, I feel like we were doing that. Just now I didn't do that because we were talking about like trying to get more girls into the program as well. But they may or may have been to jail, the traditional at risk, been to jail, has a high school diploma or GED, or if they don't have one, must want to acquire one, in terms of like GED, or like some sort of career. 1 kid or younger siblings is usually what they have. And then in terms of non-traditional at-risk youth living in Tompkins, high school diploma, 1 to 2 years work experience. And that could be like any type of job. And then I was gonna say like little to no college. I don't know how to say that, or like very little college credits. Or,
Secondary education, maybe?
yeah, that's something that I think in Tompkins, like people go to college, but that population's a lot smaller, and it's like a lot of the time is like one track minded of like going to like CUNYs and things like that, which no, there's absolutely nothing wrong with CUNYs. But yeah.
Got it. Awesome. So it looks like we all at least got some part of this, right? We've got at least our first customer segment for each of these. We've got you started on your worksheet. So if we were to go down to the worksheet, We're doing the same thing as the Canvas, but we're just breaking it out into questions. So the next one would be about the problem. What pains have your community voices experienced without the support of your program? What have your community voices identified as their community's needs? And so these are all things that you've already surfaced in your insights and your pains and gains in your synthesis document. So we're just putting it clear right here, okay? The next section is the solution. So how does your program address the needs and desires of the folks you want to take part of the program? So an example of this would be like, I heard from a community that they need X, Y, Z. My program aims to address this by providing X, Y, Z. And that's how you come together with your insights around what are the pains that your customers are having, where can they connect, and making this solution statement. What is the thing you're going to bring together? From there, you'll then talk about like your program's value proposition. So what makes it unique? So in this case, there are currently no free communal self-care spaces for women in NYCHA to gather. Her power will create and maintain these valued spaces for our community in order to heal. Right, so we're taking our sentence, we're understanding what we can offer, and we're understanding why that is unique for our community, right?
Can I ask like a clarifying? Or
Yeah.
I guess I want to make sure I understand that part specifically. So like when we write the statement, we should like name the problem that we're trying to solve and then our solution.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly. And then we go to the participant channels. So how do you want to engage with people to make sure that they can be part of your thing? What are those key activities? So like if Marquise, you're offering Zoom program for the elderly, you can say like, I want to hit 20 elderly folks by the end of the quarter. I want to create 5 Zoom sessions, you know, whatever it may be. I want to make sure that the people that I work with are able to, you know, create their own Zoom at least once. This is the way in which you can say, you know, if your key activity is like, I want to help Zoom. And then that's how you think about your key numbers. Like, how do you make sure you've helped with Zoom? And then I think this will be the easiest part for y'all, I think, which is your unfair advantage. And that is, what is the superpower you and your group bring? What do you have that is like the thing that no one else has, right? And so an example I put is like, because of my close relationships with the community, the trust and integrity that I bring to my services are highly valued, right? I think Arabia, you could say something like, I grew up in this community and the folks who would be part of this program trust me. Keisha, you could say like, I'm a healer in my neighborhood and they know me as a healer. So they know that things that I offer will be healing for them. Jacob's, yours could be something like, I've skated for 25 years all across New York and I know all kinds of folks. And so I bring this incredible expertise, right? So what is it personally about your team or yourselves that like no one else has, that I don't have, that Ava doesn't have, that Sophie doesn't have, that Mari doesn't have, all other people who are on this call, we don't have it, you guys do. That's your unfair advantage. That's your superpower. And so this is your worksheet. You'll need to, it's true, I don't know how to skate. I don't know how to skate. I did know how to skate, actually. I did roller derby for a while and then I shattered my leg 10 years ago. So I do not skate anymore, but I used to skate. I used to be tough. I was very tough. Okay, so in between now and next time, so if you were to go to your master guides, and Eva, maybe you can drop all the master guides again. They're in the Design by Community Program Team channel. I've divided everything up of what are you gonna do in class on this day? Outside of class, what are you gonna do? During office hours, what can we help you with? And so we just finished up this, right? We shared out our Connect the Dots synthesis document. We introduced and worked on our Lean Model Canvas document. And so now, between now and next class, you need to refine your synthesis document. That is, incorporate the feedback you heard.
Your screen is blank.
Oh, is it?
No,
Yeah.
I see it.
I don't see it.
I see red in class, blue out of class, and gray office hours.
Yes, that's what you should.
As
What
well.
I'm seeing is you're viewing Ashley Cortez screen, but it's black.
Let me stop it and try again.
Can you switch your view? Sometimes you need to go from gallery view to speaker view, things like
I
that.
was on speaker, so let me go to gallery then. No,
So-
everybody just went blank. Oh, it's all right. I'll just listen.
And look at your master guide, Jamila. It's all
Yeah.
in the master guide. I literally took a screenshot of the master guide schedule and put it on a slide. So it's exactly what you will see in your master guide. So I think it'll be a good lesson to just like continue to do the master guide well. So outside of class, between now and the next session, refine your document around connect the dots. Make sure you really finish that up and continue to work on your lean model canvas document with your team, because next week we'll be sharing out that lean model canvas for feedback. Again, like I said, we'll introduce a new thing. You'll work on it. You'll share it out the next session. So next session, we'll be sharing out our lean model canvas document with each other and getting feedback. Any questions on that? Oh, so, and then I put office hours, what we can help you on during office hours. We can help you with the lean model canvas document, and we can help you finalize the connect the dots synthesis document. So this is what's coming up. Any questions on this? Any confusion? Everybody know what they're doing in between now and then?
I'm good.
Good.
Same here.
Sweet. All right, looking forward to it. And so I buried the lead a little bit, but if we were to have a graduation, which we're thinking about, we are thinking about it. We need to figure it out. There's a lot of planning that needs to happen, of course. But if we were to have a graduation event of some sort, online, likely, you know, who would you want to invite to this? Ava, take notes.
My tenant association presidents.
Okay.
Kind of building off that, like, I think it should be two types of invitations that we send out, like our personal invitations and then like invitations to the people that we're like the problems we're trying to solve. So like, for instance, maybe we could invite like some youth on the call or like NYCHA people themselves. Yeah, kind of like our own press release kind of thing.
Ooh, treat it like a press release. Does that feel right?
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
with
we
it.
can also
Maybe
celebrate
on that.
ourselves too, but I think like getting our, I think like what we all talked about a lot was like, how can we get our programs out to the people, especially during a pandemic? So like that would be like the perfect opportunity.
Jamila, Deneen, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. It would be nice to invite personal the family, because you know you want your family to see accomplishments. Also, I think NYCHA residents, so they could see firsthand that we're real versus fake. Especially ones who did the interview, took the time. That would be something nice.
Yeah, I heard someone recently say that when they do their fellowship graduation, that they make sure to invite every single person that they interviewed, because it is a way to show respect and close the loop about what they heard, right? To say like, we heard what you said and we did this thing and now we're showing you that. Anyone else we want to invite?
Politicians.
Politicians?
Yeah, politicians.
Politicians? Y'all
Like
want
local politicians or something? I don't know. Like the cool ones. We don't have to invite all of them. We can be very strategic about who we invite or whatever. But like, again, going back to the whole PR piece, like just really getting our stuff out.
Okay.
You know?
Would you
Maybe
say
the
like
people-
your local community district leader, like Robert Cornegi back in the day? I don't know if he's still
Yeah. Nah, he's still there.
there.
We should also invite somebody who represents housing.
Someone who represents housing. Who would be
Yeah,
that? Like someone.
somebody like who represented in what I want to say. they have different branches in housing, but this one is like more so that works with tenants and
Okay. Like tentative.
somebody high up executive, like not like a manager or like somebody important in housing. I can't really, that's a part of the outreach or program. I know NYCHA got Reese. I guess it's somebody from Reese.
Someone from Reese? We've got connections.
Yeah.
Marquise, what do you think about that?
I'm sorry, you said me?
Yeah.
I love that idea. I want to go back to something Arabia said around sort of promoting the work. Funders, I think, would be helpful, and the folks who made this program possible, right? So that they actually see what it produced, maybe even consider expanding it, or making sure that there are more cycles to come. But also for our own projects, right? There might be some funders who, once they hear what we say, might be interested in helping us expand our program.
I have an idea.
Yes.
Built right off of that. What if the graduation, like the first half is like us, being happy or whatever and celebrating each other, all that, going through like the timeline of, or like what the process was and stuff. And then the other half, going directly into what Marquise just said, what if we do like some sort of pitch competition of our design ideas? So that also takes in the whole, like, how you guys want to help us with like some sort of case study kind of thing of, packaging, which is essentially what we're doing at every stage, is building up like a final presentation of sorts of like, this is my research, this is what I put into this, and like, this is why you should support me. So going off exactly what Marquise said, we could do like some sort of, every group can like present what they've been working on, and how people can get involved, whether that's youth signing up for the program, whether that's people funding the program. I think you should also invite the people that we spoke to from the service design day, because like some people reached out to talk, like for instance, about like from Blocks to Beats, wanting to learn more about that, things like that. So those people.
And just to give you an idea, let me go back to this. I think I'm still sharing my screen. Yeah, here. You'll see this presentation deck, which is going to get introduced soon in the next couple of weeks. And that is exactly for that reason of, you got to present out your work. You got to have a clean deck to like do a pitch to show people what you've done. And whether that's to show your community what you've been doing, your interviewees what you've been doing, funders what you've been doing, this kind of stuff. And so I think like, yeah, if we can split the time of like half the time, we can somehow like build community and celebration, and then half the time be this like presentation decks, where then at the end maybe we can do some sort of voting where, I don't know what we can receive, I don't know what funding we have left, but that there could be some sort of competition of some sort. Any last thoughts before we get out of here? We're past time, I know.
This is like kind of random, but like I hope there's music and like a dance party. So,
Yes.
A virtual dance party?
yeah. Oh, and I won't be here for graduation probably, but I am actually kind of good at hosting virtual dance parties. So maybe there's a different DJ that you all like and you want to source and invite. Ending with a dance party is like proven successful. So.
I'm down for the dance party.
And then just so you know, if we don't get to the dance party in this 2-hour thing, we also are trying to do a social event just with all of us to like and meet each other. Meet and like each other, maybe. Who knows? We could all not like each other. I have a feeling we'll like each other.
You're talking about in person, Ashley?
In person.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I like it.
Yeah, you like it. Yeah, we're thinking like Brooklyn. We're thinking like Brooklyn Bridge Park, maybe.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Sophie, I think Sophie approves.
I love Brooklyn Bridge Park. I just had my birthday party there. It's a lovely space. Sophie was
I don't know if I've been, but it sounds fun. I'm down.
Yeah, it's a beautiful park. Brooklyn Bridge Park and Domino Park are very beautiful.
I've been to Domino Park.
All right, we're going there soon. We're gonna figure it out. Kyla's gonna be on charge. All right, y'all. Work on your lean model canvas document. That is your thing to do this week because you'll be getting feedback on it next week. Okay.
Okay, everybody have a good weekend.
Bye, y'all.
Peace and soul.
Take care of yourselves. Bye, bye, bye.